Hey listeners, we are coming to Mesa, Arizona at the Bridge Improv Theater on June 15th. That's right, Father's Day. Come see comedy, magic, and improv with myself and George. Tickets will be available soon. We will let you know when. And when it is time, you will go to bridgeimprovtheater.com to purchase those tickets. Come celebrate, or escape, Father's Day with us. Two guys who, fortunately, have never reproduced. Also, thank you for supporting the show. Please leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. Now, on to the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of A Bit Delayed. I'm one of your hosts, Patrick Bean, joined as always by my co-host, George G. How are you, buddy?
Getting by, man. Getting by. As good as can be expected. How are you doing?
I'm good. No complaints. No complaints yet. It's still early Arizona time, so I'm sure I'll find things to complain about. Or maybe I'll just save it for another episode.
Are you saying we are a bit delayed?
Oh, yes. One of the many reasons we call the show A Bit Delayed is the presently 3-hour time difference between myself and George, which is so...
Yeah, sure.
It always well, that's one of the reasons. Yes. No.
It is.
Then,
it is.
We've serious. Yes.
We've covered that. Yes.
Yes. Exactly. Yes. That's episode 0. But it does kind of crack me up when I think back to when I first moved out to Arizona 5.5 years ago. It was right before the time change, where I think So it was a 3-hour time difference when I first moved here. And then it switched to the 2-hour time difference. So I remember when I would get out of the day job at 8 p.m. local time, 11 p.m. New Jersey time, and people would go, "Oh yeah, call me when you're out of work." And I'm like, "Okay, that's pretty late." And so you would usually be awake for it, but I had other friends who I could hear them falling asleep on the phone with me. And I'm like, "Why?
Yeah.
Why are you trying this? Just wait for my day off when I can call you at a convenient hour."
Yeah, A, I was either leaving a gig, or B, it's because I am a night owl. So, yeah, that does happen. But then there's also that, for the people that don't know and haven't been to your area of the world now, explain the whole daylight savings and how it's different with Arizona. Like, what's the deal with you or something?
Arizona just does not do daylight savings time.
Yeah, because the rest of the U.S. does, so why not?
I think it's only Arizona, and off the top of my head, I think it's Oregon doesn't do daylight savings time either. There's another state that doesn't do it. I forget which one. But I think it's somewhere Pacific Northwest, so Oregon or Washington. But Arizona does not do daylight savings time. So for half the year, I am 2 hours behind George and my family and everybody else back in New Jersey. And then the other half of the year, I'm 3 hours behind. So currently I'm 3 hours behind. So while I'm just finishing up a cup of coffee, George is going, "Yeah, it might be beer o'clock soon enough."
It's not beer o'clock yet. I have an event tonight, so I have to stay a little sober.
Only a little. Only a little.
But no, it has been beer 30 a few times as we've been putting this together, and as it will be on a few other episodes. So yeah, there's the occasional time.
It's also, to my comparison with coffee, I can drink coffee all day long. It's a good and bad thing. I can drink coffee at 8 o'clock at night and still go to bed a couple hours later. My caffeine, I need caffeine to survive, but the tolerance for it, I have such a high tolerance at this point.
You know, that's actually something really interesting, though, is because I remember for me, I'm a person who really only enjoys coffee in the morning. And it's not that, it's like, a caffeine thing, because I have been a person that has had soda, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, whatever you want to, brand you want to call your favorite. I am a
No, we
addict.
only want to acknowledge whichever brand will sponsor us one day. Go on.
Come on, RC Cola.
I'll take it. Their money's green.
RC Cola to me is always the taste of old school bowling alleys. It was always the only place where I could find it was RC Cola. The what do we call it? The what is it? The pit that were like, no, not pit. What the hell's the word I'm trying to think of?
Ball pit?
No, No, not that. Jesus.
Oh, okay.
No, what do you call it? A fountain. I'm trying to think of the soda
Oh, a
fountain.
soda fountain.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I was like saying like the soda pit. I don't know what the hell soda pit is, but
I
yeah,
don't
the
either.
but the soda fountain area, I always remember like the old school, like I call them like the Big Lebowski bowling alleys, like just that feel of like an old school
Hmm.
bowling alley. They always had RC cola. That was just so in my mind when I taste the difference, I go, oh, bowling alley. I don't know, just how I grew up.
My only two responses to that. One, I don't know that I've ever had RC Cola. I probably have, but it didn't stand out to me. So who
Okay.
knows? Two, you say old school bowling alley. What is the difference between an old school and a new school bowling alley? Because I don't
Oh,
know that I've ever walked into a bowling alley that's been built within the last 15 years.
well, let
I
me
feel like they
educate.
were all built and that's it. They just exist until they close down.
Let me educate Mr. Patrick Bean on this one because George G has traveled the country and has traveled a lot of places and has seen many different things and venues I've worked in.
Including
Uh,
clearly many bowling alleys.
yeah, I have
That's
worked in.
really you could tell me about all the different theaters that are old and new and how you could tell the difference, but we're talking specifically bowling alleys here, George.
I
So I want to
understand.
hear how worldly you are with bowling alleys.
Well, see, that's where you're lost because there are bowling alleys that are also now entertainment venues that host a lot of bands, comedians, and specialty acts. So I guess we know where we gotta pitch you out to.
Oh,
Uh,
I know. Listen, I perform free plug Gene Moore and Friends the last Monday of every month at Lenora's Comedy Club inside the Let It Roll Bowl and Entertainment Center in
that's
Phoenix.
amazing.
It's
That's
a
amazing.
monthly show that I'm fortunate enough Gene usually asks me and a few other comedians, so monthly I get to go in and perform for the fine people in that neighborhood of Phoenix. But yeah, so I'm aware bowling alleys can host shows. I just again, old school versus new school bowling alleys. I'm not gonna stop pressing you on
Okay.
this.
Well, I'll get at the fact that there are old school bowling alleys that are just the way they are from the 70s. There are
Hmm.
bowling alleys that were, that time frame that they have now modernized and made them into venues like what it sounds like this one is. The one around here would be Asbury Lanes. They did that. They did a big refurbish. But I'm talking about places that have been built since like the 2000s that are specifically the one I could think of off the top of my head is Brooklyn Bowl. So Brooklyn Bowl obviously started in Brooklyn, but they're all over
Hmm.
major cities in America. There's also like ones I think it's a Lucky Strike or something, and it's I would call it like almost like a big Dave and Buster's, but all centered around bowling. Um,
Okay.
so that's what I was getting at is it's not a more modernized bowling alley. I feel that like the 70s and 80s bowling alley is what I consider the old school bowling alley. I don't know. That's just how I say it.
My new conspiracy theory, which
Hey.
we did this on the old version of the show that no
Hey.
one has ever or will ever hear, but it's
Thank God.
tinfoil hat time with Pat. I think every bowling alley, and I mean, like what you said, the bowling alleys, like they were built in the 70s and 80s, and that's it. A lot of them have been renovated, and a lot of them do the cosmic bowling nights where they do the neon lights and everything, and they play the music that much louder, or they'll play a
Yeah.
specific genre of music.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like all of them were built in the 70s, 80s, maybe the 90s, but I don't think just a standalone, it's a bowling alley with a bar has been built in the last 25 years. I
You
think
you
they've all
may
been built and it's just how it goes.
you may be right on that. I mean, you always hear of refurbished bowling alleys. So you are
Yes.
I would go on that. And I love how like we're stopping at the 70s. Like I'm pretty sure bowling alleys were like real popular in the 40s. But but like it's just
Sure,
to
they
me
were built earlier then. Do you want to go further and say all of the bowling alleys in the country were built between the 20s and 40s and we just keep renovating them?
maybe.
Is that where
Maybe.
that is George's
Oh,
contribution? And this has been another edition of Tinfoil Hat Time with Pat.
remember when we said we were only going to refer to you as Patrick on this episode, and you just keep on we keep on saying Pat?
Oh, yeah, that's true. So I have a lot of friends who also call me Bean just by my last name.
Oh,
Because when I first moved out here, there was a friend of ours who he's since moved to North Carolina. But when I joined the friend group, they were like, "Oh, we already have a Patrick, so we'll just call you Bean." And so now Patrick has moved and has left the group, but everyone still just calls me Bean. So there's people who will listen to this podcast, and thank you all for listening to those podcasts. But when you call me Pat or Patrick, they go, "Oh, that sounds weird. His name is Bean." So it's fun to hear how everyone just gets weirded out by me being called by my actual, my government name, my real first name.
You know, and that's hilarious to me because, you know, I think of nicknames. I won't get to all of them, but you know, as a magician, commonly my non-magician friends will say something about the word magic. Magic Man in Magic Man, and like in high school I was Magic George. You know, so I think about that
for the same reason he gets called Magic Mike in the movie. Go on.
Yeah, exactly. But
George walks out to Pony by Genuine. That's his walkout music for the shows. It will be now. If you think it should be, you can reach us at abitdelayed@gmail.com or follow us on Instagram, A Bit Delayed Podcast, or the Facebook fan page. Go on.
We got to talk about some of the email we've gotten. Now, anyway, with see, you lost me on that one now because now I'm thinking about my intro. I'm just thinking about my entrance music and going like, no, ZZ Top, Sharp Dressed Man, that is my music.
Okay. All right. Duly noted.
It has been in, I think, every show we've done. So
True.
We'll just leave it at that. The fact is, to me, every old school feeling bowling alley in the Northeast area had RC Cola. Can we just go with that?
Sure. We can finally circle all the way back around.
All right. We'll just stay with old. I'll just overuse the word old school and not understand what exactly it means.
That's fair. I don't think anyone truly knows what it means. It's a very subjective term. There's no right or wrong definition, I feel.
Well, actually, you know what? The one I always
let's just say that's an old school baby. It's like that's a newborn baby. That's not old school.
No, I love the fact that whenever I would tell stories about my past and stuff, I'd say, "Oh yeah, you know that person had like a real old school attitude," and someone's like racist, and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, they could have been."
See, that's a potential definition. It's a potential definition.
Nothing at all was I talking about was about race, but when they're like, they go, "Was this person racist?" And I go, "Oh yeah, they might have been." Is that what old school means? That's scary.
Those were the days. All right, it's the only bit of that song I can do. Not for most people.
Oh wait, was that a All in the Family reference?
All in the Family?
Okay, wow, that threw me off for a second. I thought
that's when they sing the song and it's Archie Bunker, but that's the part Edith sings.
Yeah,
or at least hers. They both sing it, but that's the louder part. Is at least on the first one, Edith really sings out.
I'm with you now, but the funny part is that again, we are two white guys, and I'm talking about people being old school and racist, and you go, "Those were the days." I forgot you were singing a song from the TV show.
Oh, you thought I was being racist? Okay,
I was like, where are we going with this, Patrick?
I would like to remind the audience that George and I are not racist.
Yes, we are not racist.
And we are very welcoming, diverse people. Anywho, let's get into today's topic before I dig a hole.
We're not old school in that way.
No, we are not old school in that way. We're old school in that we like to put on good live shows.
Yeah, true.
That's how we're old school, because not enough performers do that. And I'll leave that at that before I make a lot of people angry at me, even though I haven't named any even performing art discipline.
No, not at all.
I haven't named any particular art.
No.
So speaking of performers, George and I, we're going to be getting into interviews soon in the next couple weeks. Yes. We have people we wish to interview, so we're going to get the ball rolling on that. We're very excited. And what I want people to get from those interviews, one is there's no one singular path to success. I think Correct. I have that currently in the show description, is that's part of why we want to interview people, because other people have, you know, paths that take longer. I wasn't going to say delayed, but for some people it takes longer for them to hit levels of success.
Why? Because why use the name of the show? I mean,
why? I don't want to beat people over the head with it. They get the idea. They get the concept. So
continue, and then I'll get to beating people over the head with stuff. Go ahead.
So, okay. That's an old school way to solve a problem. I want these interviews to put we'll call them, for a lack of a better term, nuggets of wisdom out there that people can take into whatever it is they're pursuing, whether it's in the arts, their own career, whichever, just whether it's about work ethic, if it's specific to the art form that the person we're interviewing works in. And I say all this to preface the fact that George has a story of mine that he really likes, because it is me meeting my hero, my personal favorite comedian of all time, who I consider the greatest of all time to do stand-up comedy. And George references it every so often, like, oh, like that story, but we haven't actually told the story on the podcast yet. So that leads us to today's topic.
Correct. We'll get into that in a second, because I think you have to tell that story. I have made references at least twice on this, because Patrick and I, we are friends. We've been friends for, what did we figure it out, like 8 years or something now?
No, longer. You just, before we hit record, you pulled up a playbill from 2013.
You're absolutely right.
So we've been friends for 12 years.
12 years. Sir. Wow. See, time shoots by when there's a pandemic. So, no, I want to hit two things first. Yes, that is definitely a part we want to get into. While doing this whole episode, while doing this whole podcast idea, me and you have talked so much about just how we are in general, people getting to know us, things that make us us. I love that we are where I thought you were going with this is the term that's overused way too much in magic about the term organic, is that this is an organic podcast, is that we are making this how we want to make it, and hopefully you enjoy it along the way.
Also gluten-free, non-GMO. Go on.
I think I know what one of those means.
It's same. I still don't know what gluten is, but yes. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going. Yes, we want it to be an organic podcast.
I got so much to say, and I keep getting lost, and you keep cutting me off. Because I remembered just now what I wanted to say about soda. And I still want to talk about beating people over the head.
so much. That's why we need to keep this. We have so many episode ideas.
This is where part of it can go, because the soda part was a conversation I was going into, and then I got talking about old school bowling alleys. Caffeine in general is a thing I have had many times in my life. I am just now in the last couple of years, probably since the pandemic, realizing that unclassified learning disabilities I had as a kid all attribute to now what we now know as ADHD. Caffeine is a huge thing in the people who have ADHD, where I can drink, and I never knew what it was about. I can drink a soda and then head right to bed. And it's happened a lot in entertainment. It's happened when I'm like on the road with people, and they're like, "How are you drinking soda at midnight?" And I just go, "Because I'm gonna go to bed. It doesn't bother me." So I understand where you're going with that caffeine thing. We'll piece this all together, right?
Nope. I'm gonna let it play it where it lies, as they say in golf.
Just don't get me thinking about golf. Fuck. This is the problem when you record an episode with someone ADHD.
George, what's the difference between old school and new school golf? Go on.
I'm also trying to, every time we say the word old school, not make an Undertaker reference. So
see, there's so many different ways to take it. Anyway,
we're not talking about wrestling on this episode.
Not this episode.
But where I was going with beating people over the head on something is, I forget how you said it. Oh, I know what it was. Is that you said something is paused in your life, and I said not delayed. I have an issue with this ADHD, wrapping it all up, that while we're putting this together, sometimes show notes don't work right for me. Sometimes thinking of ideas don't stay on. And the good thing for me with this is that I'm learning better on adapting it for me. So we just go into topics sometimes. I hope that is not distracting to our audience. The beating the people over the head in promotion, and this is where I'm getting at, is I did my first promotion for our podcast on my social media, and I was trying to record it. It's a problem where I try to record something over and over and over again. I can't get the words out right. I realized I was, on like the first couple times of putting it together, I was putting way too much emphasis on the name of the podcast. I just kept saying a bit delayed, a bit delayed. At one point in one of the recordings, I'll have to send it to you because it was so bad. Is I was like, hey, me and Patrick Bean want to tell you about the A Bit Delayed podcast. You can find us everywhere where podcasts can be found. Just search A Bit Delayed podcast. And you can also find us on all our social media, A Bit Delayed podcast. And then I'm like, so apparently I said it 3 times. It's kind of like Beetlejuice. And for some reason, went into this whole Beetlejuice rant. What the hell am I doing? This is about our podcast. I wanted to make this like 30 seconds. So I apologize to any fans that have written into us already that have said, hey, you guys aren't on any kind of topic. That's what we do. So yes. I think I got all that into. So Patrick Bean, tell me about your favorite people to meet.
So I will start.
Shit.
Yeah, so I will tell the story of how I met the late, great George Carlin. Backstory on the story. I'm sorry. I thought you were going to say something, George.
Well, okay. So, would you say the reference into how your family knew Mr. Carlin is something that influenced you in your comedy, or is it just you were like, oh my God, this person's in my life, let me meet this person? Like that's what I'm getting at.
That's a great question, George. You are so ready for the interview portion of our show when we get there, or when we start bringing in some outsiders. That's a great, deep question.
Because as soon as someone says one word, I'm going to be like, yo, so how do you feel about RC Cola?
No, actually, George, you hit a very good point in this. So as I mentioned, George Carlin is my personal favorite comedian. If you know me personally, you know I'm a full-blown Carlin nerd. I can give you facts about his life that the average fan does not know. That was because in public speaking, I had to give a report on his life. So I gave an oral biography of George Carlin. Learned way too much about the man. So to answer your question, George, first the backstory, yes. My family knew George Carlin. So the story is my great uncle, George Bean, was friends with George Carlin's older brother, Patrick Carlin. So a lot of Georges and Patricks in this story.
I am already lost. Going for it.
That's why I'm okay. So my great uncle, George Bean, was friends with Patrick Carlin. With me so far?
No, listen. I am with you because I also know a little bit of this story already. It's just in my head. I did not realize there's that many George and Patricks, in your life that are, Beans, Carlins, G's, Georges, Patricks. I'm lost already.
Cool. There's a lot, buddy. There's a lot.
Ooh. So if you have ADHD, get your soda and cannabis out now.
So they all lived in New York at the time, New York City, and there would be times where my great uncle would babysit my dad, my uncle and aunt.
Yeah.
And Patrick Carlin would call up, or George Bean would call Patrick Carlin and go, hey, I can't go out tonight, but if you want to come over and hang out, feel free. Hang out. I'm just watching my nephews and niece. And Patrick Carlin would go, oh, that sounds good. Are you okay if I bring my little brother George? Meaning George Carlin. So through that, in a way, George Carlin helped babysit my dad when he was very little.
And how much older of is George Carlin to your father, roughly?
I want to say...
Are we talking he was a teenager? What I'm trying to guess. Like,
yeah, Carlin was probably teenager, young adult. Might be, again, knowing what I know about his life, might be when Carlin was on leave from the Air Force. Because I think he was stationed somewhere in the South. So maybe when he was home, obviously his brother wanted to spend time with him. So they would go hang out at my great uncle's house. That's the story awesome. As it was told to me. So my dad was probably like, 4 or 5, because I think he lived in New York City till he was 5. So Carlin was a young adult at the oldest.
And remind our listeners and me, at what age did you know you wanted to start comedy? Was it high school?
I got into it, I think I was 12, 13 when I started going, I really like these comics, because I would listen to Opie and Anthony.
Yeah.
And they would have comics come in, and that's when I started to go, I think I want to try this comedy thing.
But you were old enough that you knew Carl, as not just a family friend, you knew that he was a performer and then he's an established performer.
Not quite from what I remembered. So my intro to George Carlin, as was a lot of people our age was I watched him as Rufus in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yep.
And who
Okay.
brings them together. He gives them the telephone booth and explains to them that they have a destiny far greater than they can currently understand as teenagers.
If you haven't seen
So
that movie, sorry for the spoilers.
that's not even a spoiler. Just that's the first 20 minutes outside the Circle K, which, fun fact, the Circle K is near where I live now. They actually demolished it. But
No,
the Circle K where strange things were afoot was within a 10-minute drive of where I am now.
I'm just getting at the point of since some of the fun comments we've already gotten from our fans on these couple episodes, I don't want to hear like, "Oh, you ruined Bill and Ted's." Like, it's a 30-year-old movie. Give us a damn break.
If you haven't seen that movie by now, get your life together. What are you doing? That's a classic.
Go for it.
So-
All right. So, yes,
so anyway.
Rufus.
So I knew of him as Rufus. I hadn't really, at 12, I hadn't really watched or listened to any of his stand-up. Or maybe if I had heard it, I wasn't told, oh, this is George Carlin. I didn't know the full backstory. So when I was 13, it was 2001, and Carlin was about to come out with his, I think, third to last or second to last comedy special. And as we were gearing up for it, the advertisements were starting to play on HBO. And my dad would say, oh, we have to make sure we sit down and watch this. It's George Carlin. And I was kind of like, who? Like, I didn't recognize the name yet. And my dad goes, oh, well, so my dad gave me the story. Oh, you remember Rufus from Bill and Ted? And I would say yes. And he goes, okay, well, he does stand-up comedy. This is his next special's coming out. We're going to sit down and watch it. And I said, great.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and so I watched it. It was called Complaints and Grievances. So it's one of my favorite ones. Easily, I mean, I love the writing and the jokes in it, but I think because it's the first time I sat and watched George Carlin, to me, it's one of, if not my favorite one.
Sure.
So this is the one where he famously closes with condensing the 10 Commandments down to 2. He's like, Moses could have carried him in his pocket. It would have been easier. 10's just a marketing ploy. Brilliant bit. Again, it's a 25-year-old bit. If you haven't seen it, get your life together. So I watch it and I go, oh my God, this is brilliant. And this is where I start wrapping my head around the fact, like, okay, this is a guy who my family has hung out with, or they used to hang out with in the day. This guy used to babysit my dad. It somehow, in my mind, bridged the gap. And it's weird to say, because, again, Carlin, to me, is the greatest of all time. It bridges the gap from, okay, the people you see out on the street and interact with every day to... It humanized him in a way to me, because he went from being like this idol, and okay, he's amazing at what he does, but he also puts his pants on one leg at a time, just like the rest of us, if that makes sense.
We assume.
He might have hopped into him. I don't know. He was a spry old man.
But all right, maybe I phrased it one step wrong. So you, when you used to tell me that he was a family friend, in my mind, I was thinking like, oh, he was at family. Like you knew him before you knew he was a comedian. That's in my head.
Oh God, I wish. No, so.
Like I was like, oh yeah, that's just our friend George at the barbecue. Like that's what I thought.
No. So little backstory in Carlin, and this is in his autobiography, so I'm not speaking out of school by any stretch of the imagination. Carlin was hugely successful in the 70s. He made a lot of money. He, like a lot of rock stars you see in the old VH1 Behind the Music specials, he didn't have someone to help manage his money properly. So he wound up owing a ridiculous amount of money in taxes. And he actually breaks it down where he worked out some kind of payment plan with the US government that it was almost something where for like the remainder of his life, or for most of his life, for every $1 million he made, he then owed $1.5 million.
Wow.
From like the accrued interest. So the point, the numbers I could be very wrong on. Don't quote me on that. You'd have to read his book. But my point is, he was so far behind in his taxes and playing catch up because almost the entire duration of, like, for most of the 70s, he just didn't pay his taxes. So all that plus accrued interest, he was in a very deep hole financially he had to dig himself out of. So he would tour constantly. I don't know how much real free time he had to where he could pop in and go to even some of his own family reunions. So no, I never saw him at like a family barbecue or anything.
I
But
guess that was something I misunderstood throughout our friendship. When you told me that, I thought
oh,
like I mean I knew you knew let me say that right. I knew about your father being babysat by him as a kid. I
mhm.
just assumed that because it was that close of a family friend that like this was someone you had seen before. But anyway, so getting into that, you saw the special. You
Mhm.
realize now this person this dream of being a comedian was obtainable because it wasn't just a person on a screen. And then how much longer was it the top opportunity you got to go see him live?
Oh, let's see. It was right before his next HBO special that I saw him live for the first time in 2005. So about 4 years later.
Okay.
So we went to go see him at the Strand Theater, and I was very excited to do so. For anyone who doesn't know, it's a very New Jersey reference in downtown Lakewood. There was the Strand Theater, which is a very historic theater. Go look it up. It's been through a lot of different renovations and
Uh,
different types of theater, we could say.
we'll pause there for 1 second. I can also tell you it's a 1,001 seat theater. I could
Yes.
tell you I could tell you a lot of the historic things there because one of George's past job references that I used to be the box office manager there at one point. So
Yes, you had a
it is
short
a
stint
very
there.
it is a very historic theater in New Jersey. Yes. So you okay?
Beautiful
So
theater.
awesome. A great theater. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love the look of the whole historic. It's just that it's in Lakewood
Mhm.
and gets a bad rap for that. But all right. So you're at the Strand Theater.
So we go to see him and we splurged for good orchestra seats. So I'm seeing him for the first time. I'm whatever row number we were, it was single digit. We were up close.
Got it.
So, he walks out on stage and if you ever saw Carlin live, he wouldn't have like a big ladies and gentlemen, George Carlin. Like there wouldn't be a fanfare. Was his opening act would come out, do 20 minutes, and then there'd be a small intermission. And then people would file into the theater. And then just at one point, he would just go, okay, I'm ready. And he would just walk out on stage and then the house lights would come down.
You
And
know,
then people would just lose their mind.
that's an interesting take for any of our fellow performers that are listening. Is so your opening act to get the audience like not riled up, but in the mood of laughter.
Warmed up. Warmed up.
Yeah, what's up? And now let's go take a bathroom break and get your popcorn. like,
Right. Refresh your drink, get some more popcorn, more candy, and then come back to the theater. It is different. It's
I
different from what most people do, but hey, Carlin was different in a lot of ways.
yeah, but I would almost rather just screw the opening act. Like just have him do 20 more minutes. Oh, I mean that's a weird feeling. All right, was it only one opening act?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It was one comic, would go up, do
No
his 20
no way
minutes.
you remember who it was.
Dennis Blair, I think was the name of the comic who opened for him, because the guy opened for him for years. I saw
Okay.
Carlin 3 times. The first 2 times, Dennis Blair opened for him. The
Okay.
third time he actually had a blues musician open for him. And so it
Oh.
wasn't even comedy. It was a blues musician would go up, play for 20 minutes, same thing, little intermission, and then Carlin would come out.
Sorry, let me ask
I
this
do
right.
not remember the name of the blues musician,
No, no,
unfortunately.
no.
Very good, very talented, but I don't remember.
Piano, bass,
Guitar.
trumpet, guitar. So jazz guitarist. Okay.
Just a lone guy going up and playing guitar and singing.
That's a cool feel, but
It
but
was
also
very cool.
I mean this is the last show you saw him in, so that would have been like he was so established at that point. It's like, hey, screw you, you can do whatever I want.
Oh, he was established the first time I saw him in
Yeah,
2005. But yes, yes,
I
to your
know,
point.
yeah. Okay, so back to the first time you saw him. So first
Yes.
time you saw him, you did get to meet your idol. Is that correct?
Yes, and this is the part of the story I do love telling.
I'm gonna try and not interrupt you because you get emotional almost every time you tell this. So go ahead.
Yes, I do. Thank you. So we had it arranged through, family, making phone calls to the right people, saying like, "Hey, we're going to see George. Is there any way we can go backstage and just get a few minutes with him and just talk to him? Patrick would love to meet him." And they say, "Yeah, he's in. He would love to. Sounds great." So
Oh,
we we also knew somebody who worked at the theater for the comedy events, and I can touch on that later because that
yeah.
ties into a different story. We knew, okay, after the show, go in the lobby, stand by this door, and this handler, I believe the guy's name was Brian, is going to come and he's going to escort you guys back. Cool. Show ends. Wonderful show. We sit and wait. 5, 10 minutes go by, and Brian pops his head out and he goes, "Hey, we're ready to go." And so it's me, my best friend from high school, Garrett, and my parents. And they're walking us through the hallway. Now, the
I,
Strand Theater, again, quick thing. Go ahead, George. Interrupt,
I
even though you said not to. I'm kidding.
no, I'm not gonna, because this is for clarification for people. 'Cause again, I've heard this story before. You said '05. Roughly how long had you been doing comedy, even if it was just a little bit?
So that first we talked about at the concert for The Cure, the very first time I did comedy,
Uh-huh.
that had happened earlier in the year.
Okay, so you are still within
I
your
had done it
first.
twice.
Oh,
I hadn't done
okay.
it outside of high school. But the point is, I did that concert for The Cure where I did well for a first time, and then I
Yeah.
also did the talent show where I bombed.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was it.
You can go
I
back
also
and listen
did
to that on the Patrick Bean episode. I think it's like
episode one.
It is
Episode
episode
one.
one. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So the Strand Theater was a very long room. Like it wasn't wide. It was more just like a long stretch where just as you went further back into the seats, they got raised higher and higher and higher.
Yeah.
So point is, this was a very long hallway that me and my family and my friend had to walk down. And I remember thinking, this is a big TV reference for everybody, old 60s TV reference. Get Smart, the opening credits where he walked through door after door after door after door after door after door. That's what this
Yeah.
hallway was.
Yeah, that's you're not lying. I know exactly which hallway you mean. That's the if you're looking at the stage, or if you're on stage, it's the stage right hallway, but it's just one door, another door, go around a wall. Now you're in like dressing room C, then it's two more doors, then you get to the stage, but now there's another door on the stage. All right, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like
it's at
Spinal
least-
Tap, where you could almost get lost because then there
It's-
are a couple little corners to weave through.
Yeah, it's at least 7 doors. You're absolutely right.
And so here I am as a 17-year-old kid being told, "Yup, green light, you're about to meet your new idol, your idol of the last 4 years."
He's right behind that door.
So, well, that's the thing is I'm like, which door is he behind? How many of these fucking things do I have to walk through? Big first world problem. How many doors do I have to open? So the guy, Brian, is going through and he's moving fast. And I'm clearly the most excited. So I'm right behind Brian. My buddy Garrett is a little behind me, and then my parents are bringing up the rear. And I'm all but sprinting at this point because I'm so excited. So there comes a point where go through the last door, and then we walk through. So now we're walking onto the wings of the stage, a little, backstage area.
Yeah.
And Brian had gotten far enough ahead of me that he rounded a corner and I no longer saw him.
Yeah.
And I hear him go, "Mr. Carlin," or I think he said, "George, Mr. Bean is here to see you." And the first time I hear George Carlin's voice, not through my TV speakers or not amplified through the sound system of the theater, first time I just hear his voice pure, George Carlin says, "I'm not here to see the old man. I'm here to see Patrick." And in that moment, I hear my idol acknowledge my existence. Had I not gone to the bathroom before this journey backstage, I would have shit my pants with excitement. Just full stop. I internally exploded in that moment. Like, he knows I'm here. Like, my brain melted. It was all of the emotions in that one moment. So I round the corner, and there he is. He had taken a few minutes to drink some water and towel the sweat off, and there he is, just hanging out in the wings, and went up, shook his hands, and I remember a few things about the conversation, but a lot of it was just, when I think back to it, a lot of it is just the blur of I'm breathing the same air as my hero. right? Like just
Yeah.
that surreal moment of like, oh my God, this is a guy who, because at that point I watched that first special in '01 and I went back and watched as much George Carlin as I could get my hands on, tried to listen to the album, like everything. Just slowly became obsessed with the guy. So I got to talk to him and ask him for advice, and he gave really good advice, which was, he writes what he thinks is funny. And he made the joke. He was like, it's great that they let me do this in a theater, but whether it was a small room or if I even still got to do the theater, but nobody showed up, I'm still just going to go up and say all the things I want to say. Like, he made the joke, like, I would be a raving lunatic with or without the audience to pay to see me do this. Which is true of all artists, right? We all do it because it's the thing we have to do. Not, yes, there's an aspect of ain't I cute, ain't I funny in stand-up comedy, as my friend Kenny Michaels likes to say, but we all have to do it, whether it's 100 people or 10 people or anything in between, or 1,000 people, like for Carlin.
I guess I want one more quick one on this. This was just 4 people. You're one of 4 people meeting him, your family and your friend. Was he doing a meet and greet at all? Were you like one of a few groups of 4 that went back, or was this just like you guys were the only ones who talked to him? Like that's what I'm getting at.
My understanding, because I remember the second time I got to meet him, there were other people starting to get kind of moved in as we were leaving. He would do, for people, especially growing up in New Jersey, there's a lot of people, friends of friends or whatever. There's a lot of people who have some kind of connection to Carlin.
Sure. Yeah.
I will say, as the Bean family, we always got to go backstage first.
Nice.
And we would meet him first. He was very gracious. He'd always ask if we wanted tickets for the late show because, being with my parents and since, just the way he toured, he would do these shows sometimes on a weeknight. But my parents would be like, oh, we have work, so we're just going to stay for the early show. But thank you so much. It's very wonderful. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time you come to town. That kind of thing. But yeah, we would always. I met him twice. We would go back first. That was the perk of being a member of the Bean family.
How about this? Was that your first like celebrity that you met, if you had to say? And I mean George Carlin's in like its own level of celebrity in my mind, but like was this like the first time you ever did like a meet and greet or like met someone met one of your heroes?
No. Wonderful segue, whether you realize it or not. No. Earlier,
right. I forgot about that part. Go ahead.
A year prior, I'm trying to think of the timeline. Yeah. So like 2004, year and a half earlier, I had done, and this was another thing we referenced, I had done in my high school theater competition my sophomore year, I did some Brian Regan material.
Yeah. Now, wait, hang on. I want to apologize because that was one of the comments we did get on our email, a bit delayed at gmail.com. Is no, Patrick Bean did not steal Brian Regan's material. He was doing it as like a scripted piece, right? Is that how how it was like?
Yes,
doing like it wasn't like you were just trying to hide his jokes as yours. It was you were doing it as I'm doing this as a dedication to Brian Regan, right?
Yes, there is a playbill that says performed by Patrick Bean, written by Brian Regan. Clear as day. I did change the character's name, quote unquote, to Patrick because I was too cool to be a theater kid at the time, so I didn't want to be in character. I was just telling the stories as if they were me. But I did put in the playbill, these are Brian Regan jokes.
Got it. So now we know you owe him money because you added your own name. Got it.
So I did this theater competition, and this was before I had ever done anything I had ever written. So this was me dipping the toe into, can I get on stage and make people laugh by myself? Not to humble brag, I did win Best Comedic Monologue that year. So I guess also that means Brian Regan, to a degree, won Best Comedic Monologue as the writer of the material. So maybe I owe him a trophy. That's what I
was gonna say. I want this podcast to take off so much where one day we get to interview Brian Regan and be like, oh, and by the way, here's your 1/2 of a trophy that Patrick won you.
I would happily give him that trophy. If it's even still in my parents' house in their garage somewhere. So
no, I want to customize it. It's a 1/2 a trophy. We're gonna cut a trophy in half and give him half.
Oh, perfect. I'll give him the whole thing. I don't care.
No,
so
continue.
Point is, I had done that, and that fall, Brian Regan was again coming to perform at the Strand Theater because the Strand was a real hotbed. All the big theater act comedians were coming to the Strand Theater.
There was a time where they were legitimately bringing in amazing acts. You're absolutely right.
Them and Count Basie. I think Count Basie still brings in good stand-ups, but
absolutely,
I don't know if the Strand does anymore.
Yeah, listen, if we're pitching New Jersey stuff, yeah, Count Basie absolutely brings in great acts. State Theater New Brunswick brings in great acts. I'm just saying that the Strand Theater lately has become like the tribute act artist. You're not going to go see, you're not going to go see. I'm trying to think of like a band that's still around. You're not going to go see Billy Joel, but you'll see the Billy Joel tribute artist. That's what I'm getting at. So there was a time where they were doing legitimately great touring music and great touring comedians. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So Brian Regan is at the Strand Theater in Lakewood.
Yes. Unbeknownst to me, my parents, because I think we bought the tickets months in advance. I had already done the theater competition, won the monologue with Brian Regan's material. Like I said, this was the first real expression of like, hey, I want to do comedy. This is the first time I'm trying it. And my parents thought, okay, my parents, having more experience in the world than me, were like, okay, well, maybe if it doesn't quite go the way he wants, maybe he'll kind of shy away from this idea that he wants to be a comedian, or, we're going to support him, but this might be a thing where he shies away from it. I go in, win the competition, do great. Now I'm even more like, nope, I want to do comedy. And my parents go, oh, he's a good performer. This could, in theory, be a thing. Let's encourage this. And my parents are wonderful for it. I love them. They're wonderful for a lot of reasons. This is just one example. So my parents wrote a letter to Brian Regan's, I think the management company or the theater. I'm not sure which one. But they wrote a letter saying, hey, our son is 16. He is a huge Brian Regan fan. He wants to do stand-up comedy. I'm getting emotional just thinking about it now. So bear with me. So they said, we were thinking it was just going to be remember, in the letter, it says, we were thinking, oh, maybe this is just a phase. Everyone dreams of, being a rock star, performer, whatever, right? And then real life hits.
Yeah, yeah.
We were thinking maybe this would be the thing. He would do it, and great experience, but it's not really for him. He wound up winning Best Comedic Monologue with Brian Regan's material. Is there any possible way Patrick can just, after the show, get a picture and, maybe his autograph after the show? And I think the management team wrote back and said, yep, after the show, Patrick can meet Brian Regan. And so cool. My parents, incredibly cool. My parents kept it a secret until the day of the show. So I got home.
You didn't even know you were going?
No. I knew we were going to the show.
Oh, okay.
I made I used to check the Strand Theater schedule like a hawk and wait to see which comics were coming in and be like, that one. Yeah. I want to see that one.
Yeah, okay.
So
yeah, absolutely.
I knew we were seeing Brian Regan. What I did not know until I got home from school that day and got off the bus, when my parents said, hey, so just so you're aware, because we don't want you to be like overwhelmed. We're like, by surprising you too much. We were debating on surprising you with it, but we want to just tell you now so you can not fanboy out, basically, in my words, but that's what they were expressing. We've arranged a special surprise for you, so here. And they let me read their letter and then read the response and the confirmation of like, yep, you're going to meet Brian Regan tonight. And I was, again, over the moon, ecstatic, like, you're kidding me.
Oh, my God. Wow.
So we get to see Brian Regan. Amazing. Hilarious. We get to go down into like the orchestra seating area because we were a little further back for him. So we sit and we wait. And same thing, it's where we met that guy, Brian. He was kind of like the handler for all the stand-up comics when they came through. So we got to know this guy pretty well. He was a very nice guy. So he sat with us and was like, all right, Brian will be here. Brian Regan will be here soon. So other Brian went backstage to go check on Brian Regan. There's Brian's, there's George's, there's Patrick's. All my story just used the same 4 or 5 names.
Yeah, it's confusing as hell to me. Go ahead.
That's why I'm specifying. So then handler Brian comes back through with Brian Regan. And I'm like, oh my God, it's Brian Regan. That was the first thought was, oh my God, it's Brian Regan. Second thought, don't know why. I go, wow, he's even taller than I thought he would be. I don't know why. Brian Regan's just a tall man.
He is very tall.
He's a very tall man. So he came out and, shook my hand and got to talk to him a little bit. And Carlin, obviously, I was very starstruck. For Brian Regan, I was also very starstruck. So I could only ask, like, I asked like, oh, what kind of advice do you have for me? Little nerdy 16-year-old me asking this man, for advice. And he was gracious enough to give me advice and just say, hey, just work hard, just write as much as you can, get, just have confidence in yourself, even when you don't feel confident, just. And so then my mom pulled out of her purse the playbill from the theater competition.
Oh.
And my mom started to go, oh, before, I don't know how much time you have. I also just, would you mind signing this? And there was kind of an awkward pause. And fortunately, I had just enough improv experience in my high school drama club that I knew to just jump in and fill the silence. So I go, yeah, I did a theater competition earlier this year, and I did spelling bee and pluralizing words from your album, and I won Best Comedic Monologue. And
Wait,
so I showed.
go ahead. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
So I opened the playbill up to the page where it says performed by Patrick Bean, written by Brian Regan, and he takes a second, he looks at it, and this is where, again, I think Brian Regan is probably one of the coolest fucking people in the world and most humble people in the world. And he looks at it and he sees like I put his name in the playbill, and he was just like, "Oh, thank you, man. That's really cool." But you could see like he was genuinely kind of touched, like, "Oh, this kid did my stuff at his theater competition and he won best comedic." Like, he was like, "Oh, that's really cool." Like he was touched by it. And so the playbill is autographed and he signed it, and then in just perfect Brian Regan fashion, he drew like this squiggly line. Like I think he wrote like, to Patrick, best wishes, blah blah blah, whatever, like one day I'll be opening for you, right? Whatever kind of like joke thing. And then signs it Brian Regan, and then draws this over the top squiggly line with an arrow pointing to his name, and then writes along it, "This is me." Like it's the perfect Brian Regan autograph. I could not ask for a better one. Fun fact, why? So
you
clearly that's one.
Of course.
I was gonna say, clearly one of my most prized possessions.
Yeah.
The kicker, to kind of go full circle with it, in that same theater competition, my friend Brian did a routine from George Carlin's book, his first one, Brain Droppings, and it's called The Primitive Sergeant. And it's essentially, what was a town hall meeting like in caveman times? And so that's the bit where he's like, will you guys stop drawing on the walls? Nobody wants to see your stupid cave drawings. And it's like, clearly that's how history, like little things like that. And so so the way the theater competition worked was if you were by yourself on stage, you only got 3 minutes. For every person you brought into the scene, you got like an extra 2 or 3 minutes. This way, everybody gets speaking parts as a moment in a scene, whatever. So to do the full routine, Brian timed it out and goes, oh, well, I need cave people to interact with. So his workaround was he would sit there and run the town hall meeting, do the George Carlin part, and then me and like 2 or 3 other people were dressed as cavemen, and we were sitting on the floor as like the townsfolk sitting in on the town hall meeting. And so we had little moments where we would grunt or groan, or at one point one girl pretended like she was going to throw a rock at him because she didn't like what he said. But that was the workaround to do the whole thing.
I remember you telling me about the whole thing with that talent show was the more people in the act, the longer you got. I referred to it as a bringer show. I remember thinking, damn, too bad you were by yourself and all this other stuff. The one thing I was thinking about is like, what if you would have set it up as like a coffee house? Like you're a guy doing an open mic and there's just 8 people on stage watching you. Like they're in the act.
In my sophomore year of high school, I could not fully wrap my head around an open mic yet. I definitely knew what they were from the books I read, but I didn't even have the foresight to go, oh, that's what we should do. To finish that point.
Yeah.
So same thing. My friend Brian also put written by George Carlin in it. And wouldn't you know it, that won best comedy scene.
Okay.
So now I had that in the same playbill. When I had met Carlin, that same story I just told you about, we also got George to sign that playbill. So I have a playbill that I performed in my sophomore year of high school, signed by both Brian Regan and George Carlin.
And you have pictures of both of them, assuming too, right?
I do. I want to put it up on the background as I dress up my studio space, but I do have that picture. I have a Polaroid of me, my friend Garrett, and George Carlin from the second time. Because the first time we met him, it was backstage. The lighting really wasn't good, so we didn't really do a picture. The second time I have the Polaroid, and same thing, he signed it. So I have that, and then I also have the
I
picture of me, Garrett, and my parents with Brian Regan.
Yeah, I think you need to somehow frame that all together as the two pictures and the playbill right in the middle like that.
My no, well, my mom. Oh, geez, maybe it is in here.
Anyway,
Hang
and
on,
it that
hang on.
part doesn't matter
Okay.
for the story. I am very happy you did say what bits it was because I was curious. So it was spelling bee and pluralizing words.
Mm-hmm.
This is off of
Yes.
Brian Regan's first
Album
album.
live.
Yeah,
Yes,
album
came
live.
out in
Yeah,
the late '90s. It was definitely what helped accelerate his career and blew him up because every comedy fan in the world was like, "It's a cop with dirt in it." Like they would
yeah,
just
yeah.
do just
You
classic Brian
too.
Regan bits. The first 10 minutes of that album are some of the most quoted comedy bits I think of all
Yeah.
time.
Well,
So yeah.
that's that's what I was gonna get at about my love for Brian Regan. Now I only met him one time. It was at the Brigada in Atlantic City, and it was like a meet and greet after the show, just a real quick, "Hey, how you doing? Take a picture, boom, done." You're like,
Sure.
if I talked to him for 2 minutes, it was a lot. I mean, like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
but Brian Regan was the first. That album live was the first album that was clean that I remember like quoting to friends and family.
Hmm.
And, magicians in general, we a lot of times will borrow from each other different ideas. People will adapt something. But in comedy, you're so shying away from that. You may have like a performing style of somebody, but you don't want to obviously copy their material. What I'm trying to say with this is to get better at performing as a practice thing, I would always duplicate stand-up comedians around the house. I
Hmm.
would never do it on stage. The fact that you were able to do a pit and give Brian Regan credit for it, I think that's pretty awesome. So yeah, I definitely remember doing at one time in my life, like probably high school, I was probably able to do Brian Regan's live album like front to back.
Wow.
But I
Oof.
also did that. I also did that for three other comedians. Couldn't get away with doing it in front of my family all the time. I could do that for Brian Regan, like I said, was the clean one. I could do that for Eddie Murphy, Delirious.
Hmm.
I could do it for at least two Robin Williams routines, one of them being live on Broadway,
Oh, classic.
and his first album by Robert Schimmel. I forget what I
Yes.
forget what the name of the album was, but I mean, all three in those albums, you'll know that you can't do that material as a teenager.
No.
Yeah, I won't even repeat some of the words, but there were definitely words that I should not have been saying at the time. But
Yeah.
Brian Regan, like, yeah, doing U2 and you said Cup of Dirt and stuff. I distinctly remember me and my sister and a few friends like knowing those routines front to back. Wow, that's pretty cool that you got that, and that it was a very formative time in your career.
Hmm.
Um, you obviously have your own style of performing, but I could definitely see where your influences come from if that's a way of saying it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can watch professional comedians and kind of hear and certain things, modern day, like people who are at the top of their game, who are at that like, Carlin type level
Yeah,
and go, "Oh yeah, they definitely watch Carlin." I could tell just the way they're approaching this bit or even like a little nuance of like just the face they make after a punchline,
yeah,
little
yeah,
things like
yeah.
that.
Well,
Yeah, it was
I had this as a conversation I remember in college where someone said, and I'm not trying to at all say that this comedian is not one of the greatest of all time. He even has an album, Goat, but they were talking about Dave Chappelle and
mhm.
how amazing Dave Chappelle is, and I tried to explain to them, yes, that's true, but you can also see where he borrows things from. And I think the first person I gave as an example, shoot. I forget who I gave as the in between gap,
Mhm.
but then I said, and then you can look at some of that stuff and it's Eddie Murphy. But then you look at
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy and go, "Oh, but that's Richard Pryor." And I'm not trying to say like the one famous black comedian at the time, but you can definitely see how they could all borrow from each other little bits. I mean, Richard Pryor to Eddie Murphy, I think there's a big reference. You can see that.
Oh yeah, I mean Eddie Murphy would do the Richard Pryor impression in his act. Like
True,
you
true, true. That's
know
true. That's true.
Pryor influenced Eddie Murphy, and
I'm
I mean Eddie
sure
Murphy influenced every next generation comedian,
it's
including
gonna
Dave Chappelle.
it's gonna bother me so much that I'm trying to, because this was a conversation with theater friends and we were talking about the style of comedy. And oh man, I really wish I could remember who I said was the gap in between with Chappelle and Murphy. But
Chris Rock.
well, see, no, Chris Rock definitely had his own fame, but there was something that I was comparing as to this structure of this joke, and it just so
Mhm.
happened that they were all famous black comedians, and the person was trying to make a reference to that, like, oh, I'm just comparing black comedians. I was like, no, you can see that this is this, and I think
Mhm.
the biggest one to for me and you as an example is Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor. So I didn't want to make a generalized term, but there definitely was somebody else in that gap that I'm trying to remember right now. My mind is just shot today. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're still thinking about old school bowling alleys.
And yeah, RC Cola.
RC Cola at the old school bowling alley.
Okay, so apparently it was just a thing in New Jersey. All right, give me a damn break.
News to me, friend. News to me.
Now I
All
gotta go.
right.
So I will be seeing you on Father's Day weekend. I will have to find some place that sells RC Cola and just get it to you.
Yes, you will. So, sidebar, I took up all the time waxing poetic about my heroes, George. We're gonna have to talk about your heroes on a future episode, whether
Ah,
that's the next one, whether it's a little ways down the road.
yeah, I have a lot of heroes, but you have some really cool references, and I really wanted you to get that Carlin story up because of some things me and you were going to talk about, because of some things we do talk about just in general. I think a lot of your style of performing was influenced by him, and
Oh,
the
he's
fact,
easily my biggest influence,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is that you have this reference, and instead of me just always saying, "Oh yeah, like in the Carlin story," because me and you know that, we had to get our fans to know it. Bro, I did mention it. So please, give us the quick pitch as to our show coming up on Father's Day.
Ah, yes, Father's Day. Yes, Sunday, June 15th at the Bridge Improv Theater in Mesa, Arizona. Myself and George will be doing our two-man show. We've done it numerous times on the East Coast. Now we're bringing you, I don't know, we still haven't decided if we're calling it an evening of comedy and magic or not, or,
Yeah, we
I mean,
we we have commonly used an evening of comedy and magic, an evening of magic and comedy, depending on what you want to say. I mean, it's an
mhm.
overused term, but it's just easy to explain. And unfortunately, a bit delayed podcast does not have the super following that we could say a bit delayed live yet.
Not
But
yet.
yeah, there is magic, there is comedy, there is improv. Patrick and I were talking about that before we went on air. I'm gonna be breaking back out my improv boots again,
Woo!
or dress shoes, whatever I'm wearing that night.
Your improv suit.
Uh, that's the hardest part for going from magic to improv is that I usually perform in a suit, and I don't want to do improv in a suit.
I mean, if I can do some talking, we'll talk about it off air. We can figure this out to put you in your comfy improv. We can put you in your improv jumpsuit or whatever you need. We can
we'll
we can accommodate. We'll figure it out.
we'll figure.
So yes, but Sunday, June 15th, myself, George G, magic, stand-up comedy, improv comedy, Bridge Improv Theater. Tickets available soon, but mark your calendars. Sunday, June 15th. We will be there performing on Father's Day. Two guys who fortunately have never reproduced.
I love that that's become the quote for it because I definitely feel that way about me. So,
Oh, buddy, I will talk about that at the show. Don't you worry. I'm very happy I'm not a dad. I love my dad. He did a great job. I have no desire to follow in his footsteps in regards to being a dad myself.
yeah, if we ever decided to do like a question and answer after this, it would just be just horrible stories about my father.
Oof. All right. Well, if you want to do that, George, I'm not going to stop you. If you want to figure out a way to work that into your act, you know what? You can change out of your suit pants on stage and talk about whatever you want to talk about with your dad while you just get changed.
Oh yeah, yeah, that sounds great.
Put on, hey, you said you were called Magic George. Now put on the Magic Mike part of your show.
Maybe.
All right, let's do the social media stuff and get out of here. You guys can
Absolutely.
follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at Patrick Bean Comedy. You can also check out my website, patrickbeancomedy.com, to see where I'm going to be, everything I'm doing. George, what about you?
Yeah, easiest way is almost all social media, George G Magic. Proper spelling, it'll just be in the show notes because it's easier that way than me trying to spell it.
Yes. Yes, I have it in the show notes.
Yeah, I got you. I understand. I've been following along.
Good.
So George G Magic for everything. Just like Patrick mentioned, TikTok is still a thing, so you can kind of see me there. I will be recording more content as time comes out because the one thing I can tell you is always check me out on the summer season of the Seaside Heights Boardwalk. I do a free busking style show. Busking, if you didn't know, is like the street performers that basically are performing for free. And if you want to throw us a couple bucks in our tip bucket, that's kind of how we do it. So it's something I do for fun when I don't have my other shows. So it's not every night, but come check me out on the Seaside Heights Boardwalk, Seaside Heights, New Jersey, and all other social media, George G Magic.
Which part of the boardwalk are you on, George, for our New Jersey listeners? Or our soon-to-be heading to New Jersey listeners for the summer?
Well, I can't say that I'm always in the exact same spot. That is how busking and busking permits work.
I see.
But I typically am in front of the Lucky Leo's arcade. That is a very special spot to me. It's kind of the area that I've always went to. It's my favorite arcade to go to, and it is the spot that I asked my wife to marry me for our engagement. So, yeah.
Yes, I saw George's Boardwalk show last year. Very awesome.
Yeah. I have my fun out there. It's actually kind of the easiest thing for me than and having open mics is I get a new audience every 12 to 15 minutes. So if I want to try something new, if I want to break out something new, or just go to some of the old favorites because I'm feeling like it that night, it's been a fun thing for me, and I do love doing it. On average, I want to say I get out there maybe 40, 50 times a summer. So just follow my social media. I usually post, hey, I'm going to be out there this weekend, whatever, if I'm not somewhere else. So, yeah.
Perfect. Alrighty then. Well, this has been another edition of A Bit Delayed. I'm Patrick Bean for George G.
Oh.
We will see you next time. Are we done? Nope, not cutting it out.
I thought you were just going to let me in.
Oh, okay, go ahead. You do it.
No, no.
Do it.
Just
do it.
It has been a fun episode here at the A Bit Delayed podcast. I'm George G.
I'm Patrick Bean.
We'll see you next time, guys.
Okay, bye. Thank you for listening. Theme song by Tash Nilsson. Check out all his great music on Spotify.